Hi everyone, my name's Shovon Stephanie Wiggan. I'm the CEO and founder of Inspiradol, which is based in Birmingham in England. I'm a third year student studying business management and I'm launching my business this year.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started into this episode.
It's a doll business. There's 4 dolls in the collection. There's a black doll, a Muslim doll, a Chinese doll, and a white doll. And they're all best friends and they go around the world discovering inspiring women in history and new cultures.
All right, now let's take a step back into try to understand you personally. Tell me a little bit about you when you were born and about the place where you grew up. Let us know you better from there.
So I was born in England, in Birmingham, and I've lived in Birmingham all my life. My family's from Jamaica, but they have also lived in England all their life. That's it, really.
This idea of dough, where does it come from? This is your creation, your creativity.
Okay, so I attended university, and as I said previously, I'm doing business management. So business has always been an interest of mine. One day into my first year of studying, my niece, Naya, who at the time was only 5, she confided that she didn't want to be black. She felt like her skin complexion, which is a darker black, she felt like it was ugly. And we can't do nothing about the skin that we're born into. So it was really worrying to me that she was already feeling so insecure and low in confidence at such a young age. So I'm quite solution driven. And I thought, how can I incorporate this issue that she's brought to me with a business idea? And that's where the doll idea was created.
That is very interesting. Is there some other persons that you know that have this kind of feeling relating to, because of course they are living in a society where the majority are white, so-called. I don't know the people that are really white, as it were. Okay, fine. So that sort of might be influencing how they perceive themselves, because they look at the mirror, sometimes they see other people, no, instead of themselves. Have you seen other people that have those kind of feeling that sort of, I don't know, just thinking aloud?
Yeah, I do. I see it in women my own age. I'm 30 years old. And I think the society that we live in, it shines the light on fairer skin complexions, white, light skinned. And I think the darker skin kind of gets less praise. So as you're growing up and you have that skin complexion, I think internally you're told to not love yourself as much as you should if you had fairer skin. And I'm light skinned, so I've had the privilege of feeling how you are privileged. You are more privileged when you are lighter skinned. And a lot of my black sisters who are darker skinned, they have shared with me that they do feel inadequate sometimes, and it's taken them a while to build that self-love in themselves, to realize that they are equal, if not more beautiful than someone that is white with blonde hair and blue eyes.
All right. Sorry that I'm taking a little bit, taking the story back instead of just going forward with the dough. Of course, we are getting there. And the point is that we try to understand where we are coming from, because that is very important for us, no? And so that we know, help us also understand where we are going. We're going to spend some time on the dough and also the business around it. We are coming to that part just now. Now, when you had feelings like that, or maybe not you having the feeling, when you engage with people who have those kind of feeling, of insecurity, as it were, because it's not only there, even here in Italy, it's something that we see around, particularly of the second generation, as it were, no? Of people who were born here, who grew up and sort of understand that the way the society portrayed a certain image to them is different from what they think it should be. Therefore, there is a little bit of rebellion, as it were, no? So people start to tell story, challenge the narrative, as it were. So, do you have a kind of encounter with your parents, like to know maybe because they one time were also like you, maybe when they were growing up, if they were born in UK, or maybe when they came to UK they were much younger, if the story was the same or it's only changing in your time?
No, I think this story is as old as time, to be honest. My parents are both light skinned, so I don't think they had that. Obviously, they had issues of racial injustice, but it's funny that you should ask me this question because my nan, I love her to bits, but she's very old school and she's always favoured her lighter skinned grandchildren, which is really bad to say, but yeah, she has. And I think it just goes back to the generations when slavery was going on and the lighter slaves were seen as more beautiful. The darker ones were put in the field. You know, I think it's just something that's been passed down to generation, and unfortunately, it's still happening now.
All right, that is a disease. The disease is still there. It's still ravaging around. No, that is okay. All right, now let's come back to your creation. What kind of a message do you want to make? Because, like I was just telling you, there are many children of Africans or maybe children of mixed race in Europe who are almost like kind of rebelling to the system because the system is not giving them the chance to be who they are naturally without the pretense around it. No, they don't feel comfortable about that, so they are challenging, writing books, singing music, doing things to prove that it is not right. So, in your case, what is your message?
I would say go for it. I think don't let anybody put labels on you. Don't let anybody tell you who you should be if it's not saying you need to fulfill your potential. I think you should rebel. Obviously, like do it in a nice way, as nice as you can if you're going to rebel. But I think, yeah, and I think that will keep people hungry. That keeps people wanting to create because where it came from was oppression. So, yeah, I would say go for it.
All right. The business of dough. Now you created this image that you have talked about, no? Uh, but how did you start to create it? Because one thing is to have an idea of something you want to create. The another
Yeah.
thing is to be able to create it. So take us through the journey. How did you do it?
Okay, so initially I had the idea and I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. So I started speaking to somebody who is really good at drawings and I explained how I wanted the doll to look. This was the first doll, and they created the image. And then I started working with some agencies who offered me business support. And one of the agencies had a workshop, they had a design workshop where you could make prototypes. So that was where I made the first prototype. And it wasn't very good, I'm not going to lie, but it was great to learn the process of prototyping. And then once that was finished, I found a manufacturer in England and I sent over the picture of the drawing and I said, this is what I wanted. Can you do it? They said that they could. So they sent me a prototype and I really liked it. So then from there, I started working with another business agency called Steam House. And Steam House, the manager of Steam House gave me the confidence to reach out to China because at the time, being a starting entrepreneur, I was thinking about all the risks, basically. I was thinking, what if they just take my money? They're so far away. How do I know that the language barrier isn't going to get in the way? But he told me just take a risk, make it calculated, but it will pay off. So I went onto a website called Alibaba, which has a long range of manufacturers on there. So I started speaking with a few. Once I'd found one that was a great match, I then sent over the first initial picture of the drawing and a picture of the prototype that I'd made as well, the prototype that the manufacturer from England had made. And I asked them, can you make this doll? Which they did. They sent over a prototype. I wasn't happy with the first prototype, so they sent over the second prototype. I was really happy with that prototype. And then I ordered a batch of 1,000 dolls and 1,000 boxes, because even though we have 4 dolls in the collection, we're launching with one to begin with, which is the black doll called Naya, which is named after my niece. So yeah, that's kind of how.
That's lovely.
Thank you. So yes, that's kind of how the business journey has progressed. It's been a while. I'm talking and I'm making it seem like it was quick and easy, but it definitely takes time to get the products that you want, and you have to be willing to be patient. But it's worth it in the end. Yeah, we're launching in May, which is in 2 months' time, because there was an issue with the first manufacturer. The quality of the goods were not up to standard. So we had to do the process all over again. So we're waiting for the second batch to arrive, which is arriving next month. So I think it's another joy of business that no one tells you about, the many obstacles that you have to face, the failures that you have to go through, but it's all part of the journey.
But that is interesting. I mean, we are still expecting it to come up, but at least you have seen some of the copy, okay, the prototype they have given it to you in UK before you sent it to China for production, right? So tell me, how do you feel looking at, because now you are trying to respond to the concern that your little sister have, no, in the, okay, we'll call it insecurity, but you are trying to prove to her that, yes, you are beautiful, people that look like you are beautiful, you are responding to a situation, right? So now you have an idea, but now having it in your hand is something completely different. So I'm trying to understand how you feel having even the prototype created there in UK.
There's a feeling of joy, most definitely, because I think there's one thing having a dream, and then it's totally different turning that dream into reality, which I think entrepreneurship is all about. So there was joy, but I also knew that I was very early on in the journey. So there was still a lot of work to do. So I think as an ambitious person as well, it's so easy to be focused on the next goal instead of reflecting and being happy with how far you've come. So I think at the time, now that I'm reflecting back, I don't think I was happy, don't get me wrong, but I was just thinking, we need to get the batch, we need to launch, we need to, there's so much hard work to do, we need to get the marketing right. So, yeah.
Okay. Before we move to the marketing, I'll try to understand also the kind of strategy that you put in place to get it out to the world, because you didn't call me, I called you, because I saw what you are doing. That is why I contacted you for this interview, which means that somehow some things you have done, right? Put out there in terms of the marketing. But before we got there, when you showed to your sister, what did she say? I mean, what was her reaction?
So it's my niece.
Sorry. When you showed to your niece, sorry.
It's okay. It's fine. She was really, really happy. I think she just felt like my auntie has made a doll just for me. I think she was really happy. And because she was only 5, I don't think she realized how powerful her telling me she did not want to be Black made me feel. I think she just saw it like it was a throwaway comment and that there was going to be nothing done of it. But that comment definitely stuck in my head. And once I showed her the doll, I think she knew how special she is, that just from her voicing how she felt, it's now made her auntie create a business.
And that's good, and that's great. And I think that is what entrepreneurs do in most of the cases, no? In that you look at the world around you, look at your society, you see a problem, you try to provide solution to the problem, no? In terms of maybe creating a course or creating a product, or I don't know, but you definitely provide a solution to that problem. And I find that to be very interesting, you know? Okay, now let's look at about the marketing, like I was saying before. How do you, because you have not yet launched it, now you are planning for the launching. How do you intend to go about the marketing? Because I think it's really interesting what you're doing, or for the message behind it. So how do you intend to go about it so that more people can hear of what you're doing?
Well, when I initially had the idea, we didn't just want to make a black doll because the world that we live in, race does make people feel uncomfortable, especially if they don't have to go through the problems that certain races do go through. They'd rather just ignore those problems if it doesn't affect them. So I wanted to go down the road of being inclusive. I wanted a white girl to be able to play with my black doll, a black doll to be able, a black girl to be able to play with the Muslim doll. I wanted it to reflect the society that we live in. So that's why we decided to do 4 dolls instead of one and make them best friends and have them be all different cultures. And then also throw in that they travel around the world. And then also throw in that when they travel around the world, they meet inspiring women from all different colors, all different areas of the world. And I feel like I had to strip back the different layers of the brand and join them all up together, which I think was the best thing to do, because now when people speak about Inspire Doll, it's not a black doll they speak about best friends that travel the world together. And that happens in any community.
That
So
is very, very inspiring. I think it's right. Inspiring though. Yeah. The word they really make a lot of sense now. So tell me, what is his reaction of the people around you?
surprisingly, a lot of the people who like the concept are white. They're white. I think they feel included, even though we are launching with the black doll first. They are looking at this little black doll like she's representing a girl who just wants to feel beautiful and wants to travel with her friends. And any little girl can relate to that. So I think with my dolls, you strip back the race and you concentrate on their character, you concentrate on the storyline, which I didn't realize at the time that it would make people feel comfortable with the brand. They feel like the brand is approachable. They feel like they can come and ask questions about race and about, things that they don't understand, because that barrier is down. It's like that we've bridged the gap between cultures. So when they want to ask questions, it's informative. They don't feel like, should I not say this? Does this make me racist? White people sometimes they don't want to say things what they're thinking because they have to be politically correct, or they don't want to get into trouble by the things that they say. But with this brand, because yes, it is centered around race, it also is centered around education and geography and fun. So it makes people less afraid to ask questions.
And to maybe your closest ally, you might put it, maybe your closest friends, what did they say to your product? What did they do you have any critiques, or do everybody like it? Share something with me.
Um, do I have any critiques? Not to my face.
Okay, that's already good enough.
I've had really good feedback, to be honest. My friends are really proud. I think if anything, I've inspired people to take an idea and believe in it and go for it. because an idea will start off here, but then later down the line, it can end up here. It's just if you have enough persistence, enough belief to continue the journey. Because when I first started in business, I wasn't confident to do public speaking. I wasn't as articulate as I am right now. It's been something that I've had to learn. I've had to invest in myself and want to be a credible businesswoman. And I think they've seen the growth. So it's inspiring to people that, you know, you can grow and you can really live the life you want to live if you believe in yourself.
All right, Shovon, you see, now there are younger people out there who are younger than you, who are looking at you now as a kind of a role model because they see that you do it. They are telling themselves, I can also do it. But they don't know how to do it. To climb up to that ladder, to be able to take the idea they have in their head and have it on their hand as a product. What do you want to say to them?
Okay, I would say building a team is very important because there's going to be days where you feel sad, you feel low, you don't know what to do. And your team needs to be as strong and as supportive with you through the downs as well as the ups. Also surround yourself with people who know more than you, who are more knowledgeable than you, who are more experienced than you. Always be willing to learn. Always be willing to learn. I think that's very, very important. You can never learn enough. Being positive, because entrepreneurship, there's going to be quite a lot of downs. It's not, you know, people think going into business, you click your fingers and you're rich. It's not like that. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of hours you're putting in, a lot of time, energy, dedication that sometimes you don't see back until a few years down the line. Having faith as well. I believe in God. I'm a Christian. I definitely think having faith is important because your idea is in your head to begin with. And to turn it into something tangible, you have to have faith before it's happened. You have to know this idea that I have it's going to work out. And even if you don't see it at the moment, you have to see it in your head first. And that's what you're working with, what you see in your head. What else?
All right, yeah, good. Those are very important. They're vital things to remember. And I note that you made mention of the fact, I think, also 2 times that doing business is not just like eating chocolate and hoping that things are going to work out for you, which is, of course, is true in many of the cases. Now, what do you want to share with me? What has been some of your challenges from your idea to the realization of your project right now?
Well, we were supposed to launch in September last year. So I actually had the launch planned for my 30th birthday. And how I started the business, I was doing it in phases. So phase 1 was the prototype stage. Phase 2 was the photo shoot. Phase 3 was doing the marketing, like Instagram, getting the website done. Phase 4 was the dolls arriving. Phase 5 was the launch. So once every phase had started, then I moved on to the next phase. So I was already planning the launch. So when the dolls arrived and the quality was not up to standard and we had to send them back and then we had to do the process all over again, oh my goodness, it was so hard to go through because I had planned. I mean, when you plan, you don't plan to fail. So to have to start all over again and have that setback. And at the time, it was embarrassing to me as well, because I have all these business people that I guess had put me on a pedestal and was only expecting the best from me. And then to have to tell them, oh no, we have to start all over again. And we have to do the prototype stage all over again and make sure everything is, you know, done properly. And we won't be launching until next year. It taught me about real life business because I'm studying business management at uni. University is more theoretical stuff. It's not practical. So to learn how to fail from from such an early stage in business, it was very hard. I'm not going to lie, it was very hard. But now that time has passed and we're so close to the second launch, well, it is still the first launch. Now I realise that everything happens for a reason. I feel stronger this year. I feel more dedicated to the business this year. I have less doubt. So, yeah, I'm just seeing it as it was a learning curve. But at the time, it was very painful to have to go through.
That's true. We can feel it from here. but it's good. It's good to continue, you know? And I think also it's a very good thing that you are studying business and you are also practicing business. So you are learning from both sides, because even when you finish your education, your university, and you start running your business, you are still going to be learning all through, no? Because things, sometimes you have the idea, but when you put it in practice, you see that it's completely different from what you have in your head. So you are going to be adapting all the time. So it's really very interesting. But what actually I'm trying to ask there is, what do you like more in business? Because if you are studying it in the university and you are practicing it by creating your own business, there must be something that is motivating you into that, no? So share with us, what is motivating you in business?
I like the idea of having freedom, because at the moment I'm not making a profit, but knowing that I've created something from the ground up that I can pass down to the next generation, that to me is so powerful. No one can't take that away from me. You know, I love that idea of just creating and being able to continue creating. I also have enjoyed networking with like-minded people. So the idea that we have is to do a sip and paint for children. So it's where the children come and they do drawings and they have little girly drinks. And then we'll have the reveal of the doll. And I want it to be like a party, you know, it's like a celebration, something for them to remember. And then we also want to, thank you. We also want to invite press, some press, some media, some of the business associates that I'm working with, the organizations that I'm working with, some of my business mentors as well. Just everyone who's been a part of the Inspire Doll journey and had a huge impact in supporting me and my business, just to give back and say thank you.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you in the next episode.